So first and foremost, for a while now, even the last 2 fights that Francis Ngannou's had, we've known that, him and the owner of UFC, president of UFC, Dana White, have not had the greatest relationship, right? Notoriously Dana White not showing up for the post-fight press conference in his last fight where he defeated Cyril Gane via decision to defend his title. Francis Ngannou is the active heavyweight champion of the world for the UFC right now, the reigning current champion. He is gone now from the UFC, and the reasons stand as I used to think all these happenings of how the relationship soured, all these things. I am no big fan of Dana White, but I did actually chalk it up to Francis is not unlike a lot of other fighters. Certainly a fighter who will be supposedly fighting again soon, John Jones, he's done the same thing, wanting more money. A lot of fighters have. A lot of fighters have gone through this battle of asking for more money. Okay? So this is nothing new to the UFC. And although I want to see the fighters get paid more, it's just nothing new. And we know it doesn't work. And so, again, I thought this is a waste of his time, but also a crucial mistake maybe, as he is going to sever ties with them over something that has been tried countless times before, fighting over money. So here's the real deal, right? He talked to Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour, and he speaks about him parting ways with the UFC as the active heavyweight champion of the world. They apparently, now I want to clarify, first and foremost, I want to clarify, Francis Ngannou's last fight that he had in the UFC when he was already the heavyweight champion of the world, he was paid a guarantee of $600,000. Not much. As far as fighting sports are concerned, especially in boxing, not much at all, right? So $600,000 as the active heavyweight champion of the world. And then a bonus around another $500,000 or $600,000 leaves you just over the million mark, okay, for a fight. He wanted more money. He's spoken openly about wanting more money. This turned quickly into something more important because they offered him, he wanted a 3-fight deal. They don't usually, UFC and Dana White don't usually give out 3-fight deals. They said, we'll make an exception for you, Francis, and we'll give you the 3-fight deal. We know you've been talking about fighter pay, fighter rights, being treated like a man, health care, so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you, stop with all that. We'll give you the 3-fight deal when we usually want more on a contract when we renegotiate here. We'll give you the 3 fights just like you want, and we'll pay you around $25 million to do it. So that's about $8 million a fight now that they have offered him. Okay? You win, Francis. Let's do it. Let's give you what you wanted. Francis Ngannou says, I want, that's great. That's more than enough money. I want health care for all the fighters, not just me. Okay? And I want an active liaison to be a part of negotiations and to help us and look out for us, meaning more than him, all fighters. They said no, and he walked away from this. He walked away from this, saying his values are more important, and that was the strongest thing at the table for him, more than the money, and he has walked away from this. I want to play you something, a clip, just from, again, shout out Ariel Helwani, the MMA Hour. Go check out the full interview, but if you haven't already, here's an important clip, I thought, from the show I want to play for you real quick.
Oh, no. They say no, they don't do business like that. They say, yes, I can pay my health insurance and all that. I'm like, yes, I can pay my health insurance. At this point, health insurance for me is not a problem, but How about those guys that still at the bottom make 10 plus 10 or lost a fight, make 10? They can really afford that health insurance, you know. And I have been there, so it's something that still I still carry in my heart.
So to be clear, were you asking for these things not only for you, but for everyone?
Yeah, I do ask that for everyone.
You wanted everyone to get...
I knew it couldn't happen, but right. I asked.
Yeah.
I asked, yes.
So ultimately, the money, would you say you were okay with the money? It was just all these other things that you didn't like?
Listen, even the money wasn't that okay, you know, like, and I said this before. I said, like, you know, I'm okay of structuring a deal. It's not just money is not what you get right away. You can get a long-term money. You can get a long-term value out of the deal, which is more than money, you know. So, and I said this last time when Mick reached out because I couldn't come to an agreement with Hunter. I said it's not all about money. We can structure this. You guys can give me something, then we consider like I consider it more than money. You can give me even in Africa. This is something that I asked. I said you can give me even in Africa that have a lot of value for me than the money. I'm willing to put water in my wine. You should give me something like that, you know. Those were the things that I asked for.
And putting water in your wine. So give me less money. I didn't need all that money. That money's good. I'm willing to even take less money. But I want health insurance for not just me, but for all the fighters. They said no, and Francis Ngannou walked away from Brock Lesnar style money in the UFC, the highest money that anybody could have been, could have wanted out of this. When he walked into this meeting, they gave him best case scenario money, and he said, I want health care for not just me, but for all the other fighters. They said, no, we don't do business like that. And he said, okay, I think we're done here. As the active heavyweight champion of the world. Here's the deal. Francis Ngannou is an absolute legend and a hero for that. Legend, and he is a hero for doing that. And my question to you is, will he be remembered? Because sadly, I mean, I know I'll remember, and I'm not getting on my high horse. I'm sure you guys remember him. You'll remember him like I do. You'll remember his name. You'll remember to say to your friends, if you watched, by the way, only 5 years from now, 3 years from now, even 1 year from now, only if you were watching MMA, watching combat sports in this time period, will you remember Francis Ngannou, or otherwise you'd have to get told about him? Will you remember what he did here at the negotiation tables when he had all the, the leverage that a fighter could have, and they knew that and were willing to pay him more? Will he be remembered in 6 months from now with UFC, putting on its other great events and just moving on from this? Will he be remembered? Will he be remembered when we see Cyril Gane versus John Jones for the only now vacant title because the real champion has walked away? If we see Cyril Gane take it over, the new young face, if we see John Jones, possibly the greatest MMA fighter of all time, recapture the belt, will right then and there people completely forget about this and the sacrifice that Francis Ngannou has actually done. I'm gonna say something. This kind of selflessness is unheralded in MMA that Francis Ngannou just showed walking away from this contract. And I want to know if he will be remembered. Will you go watch him in a strange PFL fight? Will you go watch him in a boxing match that you may know he doesn't have a hope to win? Or if he does have a hope to win, it's because he's fighting some guy you've never heard of if you're not a big boxing fan. Will you go and support Francis Ngannou for these incredible, selfless, heroic choices that he made, knowing damn well what he was sacrificing as the active, current, reigning heavyweight champion of the world? Francis Ngannou is a hero, and I hope you remember him.